How do you keep finding me? I'm impressed, you know. Two times impressive. A third time. Now that is impressive. But let's get to what I was continuing. We continue our story with our boy Takeo running and running. Just keeps running. And then he finds the Upper Moon one about to slash a kid straight in half. The guy he knocked cold. And then, you know, Takeo runs right in front of that and eats that. And he gets his entire body, like, cut open. And he fuses his body back together. Then Takeo says to Muchiro that, "Here to help." Damn, that hurt. And then Muchiro pulls out his blade again. He then pulls out his blade. Then Takeo pulls out his Ricci blade to cut this guy right in half. But, you know, it's Upper Moon 1. He just blitzes him. Pulls out his blade and goes to stab him in the head. But, you know, Takeo, being a speedy boy, dodges it, blocks it, barely. And then Gome shows up and just smacks out of Upper Moon 1, which is Kokushibo, the shit out of him. And then Gome, already seeing the situation, quote unquote, so he immediately just runs past Takeo, and he just, you know, gets to his original fight with Kokushibo, but during one of the parts, during one of, I guess, Kokushibo's blade transformation, Takeo shows up and immediately just stabs him immediately, just shanking him right up there, and just snaps his blade into him. Now the blade is just inserted into him instead of the sword just being in him. No, it's in him. By in him, I mean in him. The sword is inserted into him, not in him. It's inserted, not in him. He gets picked up. Then Kokushiba just pin slaps Takeo away into 4 separate pillars, and then lands into one. And then Takeo smirks, heals up, and then bolts at Kokushiba with an axe, and slams the axe right into his forehead. Or so Takeo thought, until Kokushiba appeared behind him, just spinning his arm, chops him right in the neck, because his blade just broke. And then he steps back, reveals his demon body, and then pulls out his blade again out of nowhere, and then the blade grows more blades, and he says his blade is an extension of his body. And you can't defeat something that literally is his weapon. And Kokushibo's still... Now Kokushibo's on the defensive instead of the attack, because Gome and Saname are freaking him up. And since Genya and Muchiro are still alive, plus, and Takeo starts bolting at Kokushibo until Genya gets surprise attack, cut in half. He falls and dies. Depressing. The only good thing that came out of the situation is Takeo saved Muchiro, but at what cost? Now Takeo is in half. How did he get in half? Good question. And then Takeo goes for his axe again until Kokushiba steps on his hand. Gomei and Sanemi's sad. What just happened? Sorry, I got a flashback of a story, but nothing happened. Let's continue the story. Sorry. Then Gomei, after raying Genya's soul to rest by praying, then gets back in the fight. But then Kokushiba going to stab it at Takeo in the head, but then Gomei shows up, pops him right in the gut, and they just keep going at each other. Until he's getting a bit too much pressure after Takeo joins the battle again. And then he gets annihilated. I think Takeo would probably start stabbing him with another Nichiren blade. Sadly, the Nichiren blade he's holding right now is Genya's. He picked it up after he died and decided he'd use it in his battle. And since Takeo's wielding it, he turns it red and just shanks him right into him. And then that gives Muchiro a chance to stab his Nichiren blade into him. Kokushiba, of course. And then, in his true form, Genya just smacks the shit out of him. And then Kokushiba, trying to regenerate, then remembers his brother, cries, and then dies. And then Genya, Takeo, falls over, very exhausted from the battle. You thinking demons don't get exhausted? Takeo's different. He's just that guy. And he's pretty scared right now, because Takeo got fucked up. Too easily, I might add. Man, you gotta get fucked up on God. Yeah. And then Gomei, after getting less damage than he would have if he fought Kokushiba in the original, but now he's good. He's good. And then Takeo, flashback time. Then he gets a flashback, or I guess a dream, flashback dream, /slash, and then he sees his brother and his sister telling him to stand up, and then he starts screaming at him to stand up because you need to live for our family and for everyone who came before you. Then it shows all the people that have died so far. Genya, basically just everyone that's died so far, which is just Genya, Shinobu, Rengoku. That's it. And they tell him to not give up. And Takeo wakes up from his slumber and decides he's gonna go. It's time to go kill Demon King Muzong. Gilmei's like, alright. And, of course, they go to Muzong in the final battle. The skill. And Takeo just still Takeo, and meets eyes with Muzong for the first time ever since, he never met Muzong's eyes. And since Takeo feels zero fear of this guy, completely uh, fades my boy Takeo, going to cut him. Takeo just blitzes him, missing an arm, and then shanks him with Genya's blade. And, Muzan gets surprised. This came out of damn nowhere. And then Muzan just smacks fucking soul out of him. Until Genya shows up, but Gyome shows up. And starts smack and Muzong until Muzong just punches him once. He goes flying into a building. He's hunching over. He just wakes up with fury. Then putting on his Demon Slayer mark on again. And then just running back into the battle. You thought he was gonna die, didn't you? Nah, he's fine. And then he starts swinging at Muzong with more fury than he did. And then, Muzong tries to hit him again. But Gyome grabs his hand and tears it off in basically the same fashion as Mitsuri when she did it to Muzong in that original comic. He just does that. Then Muzong gets impressed, but not too impressed, to the point where he just punches Gyome with his other fist in the jaw. But he eats that crap, and then just body slams. Full Nelson's body slams him. And then he gets up quickly and then just goes to swing his axe into Muzong's head until Muzong blocks it, getting up from this and then stabbing Gyome. Or so he thinks, because guess who was there? My boy Muichiro, because he's not dead. And Sanemi shows up as well with Giyu. Hit that striking pose, and then they start slashing at him, but Muichiro then starts cutting off Muzong's tentacles, but she just keeps growing more, and then he shanks Muichiro right in the arm, but Takeo cuts his arm off with Genya's Nichiren blade. Then he bolts at him with a blood axe, because he makes blood axes with his demon slayer, with his blood demon art, and he freaks him up. He stabs Muzong right in the neck, and then just punches it in with fury. And then Gyome sees his opportunity to grab his flail, slam it into Muzong's head. But since he's not Kokoshibo, he eats that crap, his brain being completely non-concussion, but bleeding anyways. And he roars, the blade leaving his body and everything, until then after he tries to heal, then he coughs out blood, and cries blood, and thinks what's happening. And then your boy, Lady Tamio, shows up like, yo, what's good? And then Muzong just dies. I'm kidding. He then gets weakened to the point where Takeo sees this, immediately goes for his gut, slicing him in half. Yeah, he slices Muzong in half. But then when Takeo looks at his newly acquired blade, it's shattered. Yeah, it's shattered. And then Takeo picks up the shards and fuses it back to the sword with his blood demon art. So it's a demon-infused Nichiren blade. Again. Then, he just runs back in with Gyome and Muichiro and Sanemi and Giyu showing up as well to frick him up. And then Mitsuri joins the battle as well, starts cutting him up, and somehow Takeo and her have perfect synergy for some reason. Yeah, it's just them like hitting with the Jujutsu Kaisen treatment with the fight back, bro, fight back, fight back. There's more than there's more stronger people here, so he's kind of getting demolished, and he's getting stabbed all over the place with red Nichiren blades, and getting hit with sun breathing, and he's coughing out blood of poison blood from Tamio, and then he gets shot in the back by Muchiro because he picked up Genya's gun and popped Muzan right in the back. And then Zenitsu and Inosuke join the battle after, healing, with Kano also being there. Then she unlocks her demon mark with it looks like a butterfly. It's very cute. Then freaks him up. Then Zenitsu starts slashing at Muzan with his just lightning bolts type speed, and then Gyomei hits him with the flail, smacks him right in the face, and then he gets slashed, slash, and then shot in the back again. But this time, Muzan blocks that crap, goes for Muchiro, but since Mitsuru is right next to him, Iguro appears again and cuts Muzan's all his tentacles off and then stabs him in the neck until Muzan takes this chance to break Iguro's arm and then take his blade away from him, and then he shatters it against the floor. Then he throws it. Then the broken blade gets flown towards Takeo, and then he gets stabbed in the neck. Then Muzan's already on his ass with the Nichiren blade next to his neck. He's about to slash his head clean off until Gyomei, being the safe boy he is, slashes his arm off, which already enrages Muzan to the point where he just shows up on Ginyu, and then finally forces his hand straight through Gyomei, killing him because ain't no way Gyomei is surviving that. And then he grows the tentacles out of his arm, and then just slashes Gyomei's entire body apart. And then he closes his eyes with a smile, seeing his family. And that takes Gyomei out of the battle, but not Takeo. So he takes Iguro's blade, the half of Iguro's blade out of his throat. Then he fixes it with his blood demon art, and starts slashing at Gyomei. Then he throws it back at Iguro, who catches it with his non-broken arm. He's already mended it with a stick. Then Muzan goes for Inosuke right to the skull with a open hand strike with his claws until he gets his hand gripped and torn off by guess who? Mitsuri? Straight off. It's gone. And he's dead. I'm kidding. But then Inosuke, after seeing this, he takes off Muzan's arms with his blade, and then he's armless for now until he regrows the arm Mitsuri torn off and just popped her in the face, which enraged Iguro. Then he shows up with his broken cast arm, slicing up Muzan's into like 4 pieces. His arms, his torso being torn off. That's 3 pieces, sorry. Iguro tried to cut off Muzan's head, but Muzan just did not let that happen by stabbing Iguro stabbing him in the gut and slashing his face, which then opens his mouth until Iguro cuts off the things, taking the tendrils straight out. Yeah, he's getting fricked up on God, on God. And then Mitsuri gets up from the entire pop to the face, then runs back, with Kanyo also putting pressure, with Muchiro with his gun, keeps shooting at Muzong. So, Nosuke, Kanno. Sorry, I had a notification from my priest that manages my church. I'm smart. Then Muchiri completely shoots him, and they start putting pressure on him. With Zenitsu then joining in afterwards after he puts some more gut into it until Muzong finally gets out of the freaking hold, going for Muchiro because he keeps shooting at him, and it does succeed in one way. He gets rid of Muchiro's gun by crushing it between his hands. Then when he goes to pop Muchiro in the face with a strike to the head with his one finger, my boy Takeo shows up and hits him with a full nose by a different, I don't know, another grip. He puts his two arms around the original arm, then puts his two legs around Muzong's arm, and then he snaps his hands on the back. Then he twists his body to the point where he tears off both of his arms again. Muzong just losing arms at this point. It's terrifying. And then he just regrows them again, but already Muchiro's gone. He just gets pressured and pressured and pressured until he gets weak enough to turn into a bebe. And then he slashes Mitsuri in the gut, but already Iguro is bleeding out, poisoned, and he has so many open wounds that he drops his blade, walks over to Mitsuri with a giant open wound that's definitely gonna kill her, and then holds her in his arms and tells her that he wish they could have gotten married, but it just maybe they'll get married in the next life. And then Mitsuri proceeds to cry, then gripping onto Iguro, hoping this is the truth, because to be honest, she did love him as well. And then they die in each other's arms. Now it takes two big players out of the game. Then Genya and Sahanami finally appear after mending their wounds as well, because they've been bleeding all over the place. And Sahanami had an open gut. And then they started getting back into the battle. Then Takeo shows back up, and it pops him right in the face. Muzong in the face. Ooh. Then Takeo stabs 3 axes into Muzong. He places 3 of them into 2 joints, so he can't move them. And then he pulls out his Genya's blade, stabs Muzong, and snaps the blade into him. Then he moves his hand upwards, punches him, uses his hilt to hit him in the throat, and then Muzong, furious, then uses his tendrils to stab Takeo, actually taking some of his blood, only some, until, Takeo immediately tears it out, and coolly actually stabs his own fingers into Muzong, sucking a lot more blood than Muzong did to him. And then he gets stronger, then he gets away from him to, assess how much strength he just got, and how much fury that Muzong has, because his blood is boiling at this point. So if a demon became a demon at this point right now, it's kind of gonna hurt. And one that's already a demon, fighting the urge to eat someone at this point because he's starving, He's coughing and he's dying. With Sanemi also there, it's kind of hard for Takeo to keep his cool. And then he grows tentacles out of his back. But these are more. Actually, they just look exactly like his own. Like they're like very bony. Then then he then uh, Takeo runs back into the battle with Sanemi, and Ginyu already stabbing uh, with them with their Slayer mark on and starts cutting him up. But Muzong starts slapping them around, breaking a lot of their bones. And then Genya loses his arm by Muzong this time. He gets popped in the stomach, and then he goes flying. And he gets catched by something, which is Takeo running back into the battle. He ran really far away. And then he immediately just sets him down, then heals his hand. He says he unlocked a new art. And then he sets Gyu's arm on fire, which immediately heals it. Yeah, let's go. My boy unlocked Nezuko's ability. Then just ran back to the battle, with Genya being closer than he thought. And then he just walks. He picks up his blade and just walks right back. Yeah, the fat boy's getting fricked up right now. Then before Takeo can land a blow on Muzong, which would have been very lethal, he gets sucked into his body. Like his leg gets grabbed by mush, and then he gets sucked into his body. By the mouth, of course. And then Muzong, the original Muzong, trying to stab Takeo in the throat. But he actually, instead of being like unconscious, he's fully awake, remember? And then he just grabs Muzong's hand and then yells at him that you're gonna die today. And then he puts one of his hands up, and then he shoots his blood demon art into Muzong's throat. And he breaks it into his throat, which then makes him cough out blood. Muzong cough out blood, and then the sun comes up, and then Takeo and Muzong start burning up in the sun until Muzong fades away and Takeo's still there. He conquered the sun. Come on. He's a sun user. He's a flame. He has sun breathing and a blood demon art that counters demons. He has 2 blood demon arts that counter demons. And then that's the end of my boy. That's the end of Muzong. Takeo gets up, coughing out some gunk from his throat, which then burns up in the sun. And then everyone runs towards Takeo, giving him a big hug. They're really happy for. They're very happy that Takeo lived the off location with Muzong, and then they all mourn for the losses of all the people that helped in Muzong's battle. And yes, Michiro still lives. What a surprise! Only a couple people still. Only Michiro lived in this timeline. I think that's the only guy that actually lived in this timeline. Because everyone else that died in the original timeline died in the original timeline. I think. I don't know if I'm missing anyone. But everyone lives besides, the ones that died. Only Muchiro lives from the original. From my version. To this separate dimension, sorry. I get my words mixed up sometimes. And then Muchiro tells Takeo that he wishes he could have been there to help his family. Since remember, he's one of the Hashira. Then Sanemi and Giyu, especially Giyu, starts sobbing because they feel so bad that they couldn't help him in saving his family. Especially Giyu, because he really wished he could have helped. People don't know what demon killed him. But Takeo says, there's nothing you could have done. It was Muzong that killed my family, and I know this because of his eye. The look in his eyes when he looked at me for the first time. He was shocked, surprised, and it looked like he killed. And it looked like I was supposed to be dead. So we probably would have all died if you guys came to help my family, so. Without my family's death, I don't think Muzan would have ever been defeated. And then they all realize this is the truth. And then eventually, Takeo starts losing his demon marks and stuff, and then he becomes human again. And that's where I'm going. Thanks. That's where I'm gonna leave things. That's all the story I have for you. So I will see you. Probably see you again because you keep finding me. Well, like, subscribe, hit the post notification bell. The post notification bell helps you get notified when I'm about to post a video. Subscribing helps me personally, and liking helps me with the algorithm. Good day.